Hey guys, welcome to my January 28th DVD update. It's been about 3 weeks since my last update. This update I'm going to show you all the DVDs I've gotten over the last 3 weeks. The first one I got is called National Lampoon's Homoerotic. No, that was what it was called. It's called National Lampoon's The Stone Age. It was originally coming out as the name Homoeroticus or something like that. Erotics or something. And last minute, it was actually going to come to DVD in like December or a few months back. And it got pulled and then it came back out with the Stone Age title. I'm not exactly sure why the change, and all the features on here say the other title, so it's definitely a last minute thing. The thing about Stone Age is there's already something called that, so I don't know what they was really the thought for this, but it was actually a really good movie. It's written and directed and starring Adam Rifkin, who was the writer of Mouse Hunt, which I really liked, in Detroit Rock City, and Zoom. It's like the movie that when Chevy Chase finally came back into doing films again. And this is like a movie that takes place in the Stone Age period. And it reminded me, like, it wasn't shot there, but it looked like where they shot the Flintstones and Bill and Ted. But I think maybe some of it was, but I think it was shot like in the Texas desert or something. And the Adam Rifkin in this was hilarious. He sort of has like a Stuttering John thing, but without the stutter. And the main reason I wanted to see this is because Giuseppe Andrews, who was I buy all of his movies, and he was the cool guy. He's like the party man in Cabin Fever. I'm sure you know who he is. And also the really cool old guy who's in all of his films, and the other guy who's in some of his newer films that he does for his website, that he sells through his website. But the old guy in this was hilarious. But if you can find this movie, I would definitely check this out. It's like a Stone Age movie, and he's like this inventor, and nobody likes him. And I don't know, it's very difficult to explain, but I really like this. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time, and it's really, like, definitely my sense of humor. Like, if you like some of the stuff like that I've recommended before, I think you're like that. The next one I saw as a recommendation on someone's MySpace, and it's called Bloody Birthday, and this one was really, one I had never heard of. It's about these 3 kids that were born, like, on the night of this full moon, or some kind of a, no, during a solar eclipse, and all 3 of them were born the same time. They aren't twins or anything, but see, I thought that at first, but they weren't. And these kids that have no conscience are like killing everybody, and if anyone starts to find out about them, they kill them off. And the one that was in, who was in? They didn't even list her who was in it, but she was the one who was always in that strip mall show or something. Everyone was always talking about her. And remember in school, everyone was always like making jokes about her name. You know who she is if you've seen it. But I thought the kids in this were kind of creepy. I mean, it's not the greatest movie. My favorite part of it was the end song, this end score to it. But I would definitely check it out. It's from VCI Entertainment, which I don't think they're doing. I don't think I've seen anything from them in years. I don't know if they're even producing DVDs anymore. The next one is a title called Amusement, and this was actually going to be coming out to theaters from New Line, and then something happened with New Line. I don't know if they're a company anymore. I think they got bought by Warner Brothers. I really don't know the whole story, what happened. This is a movie about this guy. You can't ruin it, though, if you say it the wrong way, but basically it's this guy that gets amusement out of killing people and, like, screwing around with people, and like, a lot of it doesn't make sense, but I really thought this was good, and I thought this definitely could have gone to theaters. There's some scenes in this. There's some scenes at these underground and these weird mental institution, and I don't know, it's very interesting, and I thought a lot of it was creepy, like this big clown, like there's a lot of weird images in this. I really like the opening. The one guy who's in the opening is the one who was in band camp and in the new Lost Boys 2, who was the main lead in it. But I would definitely check this one out. And I would have gotten the Blu-ray, but I didn't even know it was on it. So I just got the regular one. And this one, I kept hearing people recommend it. And I got the 3-pack. It's another one from VCI. And it's Blood Cult. It's like one of the... They were saying it's the first shot on video, but from what I've heard, it's not. Apparently there was like 2 or 3 things shot like a couple years before this. It's basically a shot on video film about this killer who's killing people on a campus, and this really cool old guy trying to track him down. And he has like really like low-end acting talent, but I liked it, and like everybody did. My favorite stuff in this was the scene in the cafeteria, and a lot of it was overdubbed, like they had to do with that. I guess like they didn't have the dialogue. They shot this on VHS, but they shot it on Beta, which is basically what they shot like television programs like soap operas, so it looked a lot better. And I don't know, it was like this killer. The favorite stuff was the stuff that was at the school cafeteria, and the acting in it of the lunch lady was like the greatest, and especially, I don't know, that was the best scene in the entire thing. And I got sent 2 Blu-rays. Got sent The Heartbreak Kid and Hot Rod. Hot Rod, I need to watch these again, but I remembered liking this when I first saw it. And Heartbreak Kid, which is the remake of the 1970s one that Charles Grodin was in. This one was really not as good as all as compared to the original. And I was kind of surprised me that the Farrelly brothers would even make this. I don't know, there's parts of it that are alright. The best part was when he was trying to escape Mexico to get back into America. That's the funniest stuff in the entire movie. Other than that, it's really, it's alright. I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which was very similar to this. A lot better. It's alright. I mean, it was really one of their most forgettable movies. This is one that I got that everybody, like, it did not do well at all. And I watched it and, like, loved it. And I normally don't like these, like, big CGI movies, but I don't know, it was fitting to this movie. This is a movie where I think it makes sense to use things like this. And it's City of Ember. And it's one of the first movies that Bill Murray's done in a while. And a lot of people were saying Bill Murray's performance in it wasn't really much to it. I thought he was fine in it. I don't know, I've liked everything Bill Murray's done. I think my favorite thing he's done, though, has always been What About Bob? This is about, though, there's something happens on the Earth, and I think it's dying off, similar to WALL-E. There's a lot of things, movies like that lately. The Earth is dying off, so they build this underground world that can sustain life for 200 years. And after 200 years, they have to leave the thing. But the only way to get out was in this box, and the old mayor died off, and he had the box. And it's hard to explain, but these kids basically have to try and find a way out of Ember. Otherwise, the power will be off for good, and they'll all die down there. And I don't know, I really liked this. Martin Landau came back in this. I don't know, it was very good. I mean, a lot of people, like, nobody saw it, but it really was good. It was a lot better than, like, I know it's from the same people that Journey to the Center of the Earth, the remake. It was a million times better than that. And this is one that I really liked, not as much as the British series at all, but it is good. It's better when you watch it again. And I'm kind of weirded out by with this, though. They aren't sponsoring Lou and Andy on this at all. It's like, in America, Lou and Andy aren't popular, and the truth is they're the best characters in the whole show. But this is called Little Britain, and I'm always, if you've seen my videos, always quoting that, "Yano." I sort of like rubbed off. But it's these 2 guys that have this sketch comedy. They started out in England, and then it came to America, and this is the American series of it. And from what I've heard, there's going to be another season. Even though it did not get very good reviews, there's going to be another one, which I'm glad to see it. But, I mean, there were some skits in this that were not the best, but a lot of them were really good. And if you like funny sketches and stuff, this is definitely some of the top. And I would definitely watch the original series of it, though, too. This is one that I thought I wasn't going to like, and I ended up actually really liking. And I always end up liking these romantic kind of movies. And it's My Best Friend's Girl with Dane Cook, which I don't really like Dane Cook normally. But he was fine in this. I felt like he was a little nervous acting in Good Luck Chuck. I don't know, he wasn't, I don't know, he's sort of gotten himself together a little bit with acting. A little bit more. He's a little bit more confident in front of the camera, because like, he was never too confident in some of the other movies he did. And I always watch everything that Jason Biggs, you know, the Pie Fudger's in. And this is about, like, Dane Cook plays this character that if you have a, like, it's hard to explain exactly. Basically, he goes out, like, if there's having a rough time with your girlfriend or something, or she dumps you, he goes in and tries to go out with her and give her the worst date of his life, and then you hope that the girl will go back to him. It's kind of like his scheme. And Jason Biggs wants him to do that with the Kate Hudson girl, and then Kate Hudson ends up falling in love with him. And I would definitely check this out. And if you don't want to buy, you don't have to buy it. I would just rent it. I mean, I'm going to watch it again. I actually liked it, but I would definitely check it out. And this one I had to get it because I watched on the Pineapple Express DVD. It had this feature with Ed Bigley Jr. And I've always been obsessed with Ed Bigley Jr. and his solar power. I've actually talked about it a million times in Don and Murph and some other things. I remember, I think in middle school, they played a documentary from the late 80s or early 90s with Ed Bigley Jr. And I think this is before he was married. He was just living in this house by himself, talking about all this solar-powered stuff. And I don't know, he's very strange. And I've always liked his, like, my favorite Ed Begley Jr. was always Meet the Applegates, which still isn't on DVD, which I have no idea why. But this is like a show about him and his life with all this solar power business. And the box, I'm not a huge fan of this case. It's like in an egg carton, and it's biodegradable. So technically what they're saying is you're going to throw this DVD away one day. So it's going to go back with the land. But it was kind of funny how the case is like that. This is one that was recommended to me to see. It's called Midnight Movie. This one was okay. I didn't think there was a movie about these kids that are, I guess like, it's probably the same age as me, college kids or something. They were playing midnight movies. It's like a local theater that plays old movies. They can't afford new ones, so they're playing this old midnight movie that has a bad history to it. So they play this movie, and the character keeps coming out of the screen, pulling them in and killing them. It's okay. I did like the ending. It's an interesting movie. I didn't think the midnight movie that they're playing was done as good as it could have been. I think it could have used a little bit more work to be more authentic. That's the only thing with it. I also, you know, things that I was noticing was like if you show the rating on the poster, it said GP, which is not, it would not have been rated GP because there's nudity and bad words in it. So stuff like that wasn't researched as good as it could have been. But it is worth checking out though. Another Blu-ray I was sent was Election, which is a movie I've been a fan of for years, which is Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon, and it's basically about this school election going on and all the issues with this and all the schemes and everything. It's something that I've seen this for years, and I was happy to get the Blu-ray of this though. And I saw one review that said it didn't look good on Blu-ray. I thought it looked fine. I thought it looked a million times better than the old DVD. And this is one I couldn't resist getting, and it hasn't been too good. I started watching it, and it's Vacancy 2. I love, you know, these hotel horror movies, because Motel Hell is one of my favorite horror films, and I watch all these kind of motel ones. This doesn't have the suspense that the original one does. And I mean, they're even saying the story of the first victims. So it's not like you're wondering, oh, they're going to get away. It's just, you know what I mean? You already know. You know what I mean? There's no suspense in this. With the first movie, there was at least some suspense with, are they going to get away? Are they going to, you know, get to the cops? This, there's nothing. So, I mean, I like the bag on the head aspect. It's interesting. The only good thing about this is Alan Strange, the kid who played Alan Strange, is in this. That's like the only thing about it that I liked. I mean, it's alright. I would not get it. This is one, though, that I really liked. It's from Dimension Extreme. This was another one I heard someone recommended on the comment under the video. It's called Eden Lake. It's about this couple. I think it's in England. I can't hear accents as well. I never pick up on accents that well. Because like some people are like, oh, I can't understand that accent. That I've never had a problem with that. I believe it's in England. Yeah, probably, I think. England, Australia, I wasn't fully sure. It's about this couple that goes out into this. They want to like go out and camp in this area that's going to be turned into multi-million-dollar homes. So it's this sort of quarry, and they go far out into it in their car, which is totally an area they're supposed to not even be in. It's off limits, and they go out there. Go out to camp and set up their basically they're just laying out in the beach area first, and they run into these like real turdish kids that are out there screwing around, smoking, playing their music real loud, and then the kids are like screwing around with them. Then later they leave the campsite, go into town to get something to eat, and then they run into the kids, and like he like chases them off with his car, and that starts this whole big problem with them. And then they're stupid enough, after they know how dangerous it is in these woods with these kids, they go back in the woods, and then that's when everything goes wrong. Their car is stolen. I don't want to ruin this movie, but it's a very brutal movie, but a very well done horror film. Definitely one to check out. These movies from Europe and England are always more interesting than some of these things that come out in America. And Dimension, I know sometimes it can get a bad rap. The company, like some of the titles, haven't been the greatest, but this was a very good one. This is one I still have to watch, and I've been wanting to see it for a while, and I got the Blu-ray of its Lakeview Terrace, and I've heard mixed reviews of this. I just wanted to see this one really bad, and didn't get to see it in the theaters. And I got the director's cut I still have to watch of My Bloody Valentine. Like I said, I saw the new one recently. It was alright. It was fine. And this another one I got which I still have to watch. I didn't get to watch some of these. Was Savage Streets, which is a Linda Blair film, which was from the 80s, which looked like a very like an interesting one. And here's some of the new Friday the 13th I was sent. I got sent the Blu-ray DVD of the first movie, and I looked at it. It looks very good on Blu-ray, a lot better than I thought it was going to look. And as you know, this is like one of the first camping in the woods horror films. It was funny on this, they were like admitting that they were ripping off Halloween in the documentary. I wouldn't have thought of it as like a rip-off. It was a totally different thing. I mean, I kind of like it a little bit better than Halloween. I mean, the first Halloween was really good. The sequels, and they're doing a remake of this. And the covers these are pretty good, but I like the original artwork a little bit better for these. Of the because the Jason mask wasn't in this one yet, and it wasn't in part 2 either. Which the part 2 has this kind of a cover to it, which is pretty cool. The second one, I always think the first one was the best. This one, the third one, was in 3D. I can't. It's the red and blue, this kind of 3D. This always gives me a serious headache. I remember seeing Spy Kids 3D in this and was like sick from it. And it looked good in it though. The 3D did work. For the most part, it did work. It'd be interesting if they release at some point Jaws 3D, because the version of that's already so strange looking because it's not in 3D, and some scenes even still are on the regular version. But the third one was alright. Another one I got sent was Mirrors, which is the one with Keir Sutherland, and he works in that. He's working in that old hotel cleaning the mirrors, and then he starts seeing things in the mirrors. And this was a very creepy one that a lot of people didn't like, which I thought was pretty decent. I mean, it was a lot better than a lot of these other Japanese remake movies, which I didn't even go into this knowing it was a remake. It's directed by the director who did High Tension and Hills Have Eyes, the remake. And it was very creepy, and a lot of people were saying Keir Sutherland was basically just the character on 24. See, I never watched 24, so I guess that might be why I liked it. And another one I just got that I never saw it come out to theaters, and I kept hearing about it, but I never recalled seeing it, was The Lucky Ones, which I really wanted to see, and I believe it's like these guys coming back from the war. That one I'll talk about next time when I get to see it, as well as this one about these kids going, I think they're going skiing out in the woods. I think it's from Finland, and they go out in the woods and they like something. I'm not sure about what happens. I have to talk about that next time. I also got the second season of Living with Ed, which I only think there's 2 seasons of it. And like I said, I liked this show. The second season was a little different than the first one. It was more about like bringing in guest stars, so it wasn't exactly the same as the first one. It's still good though. So that was my DVD update for this week. So what I've got over the last 3 weeks. So there'll probably be another one in about 2-3 weeks from now. So thanks a lot for watching and for subscribing, and I'll see you all later. And I hope you like this background I'm using. I think it's a better lighting than the way it was in the couch. It's a little easier to do it here too. It looks better with the DVDs, I think. So anyway guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.